I'm Sally Worley, the Next Generation Horticulture Director for Practical Farmers of Iowa. Typically, we hold these events in the fall, winter, or early spring before the growing season starts, but we're so excited about the results of our branding project that we didn't want to wait that long. And support for this event and for the entire project that we will talk about tonight came from the T.R.U.E Foundation. Practical Farmers of Iowa is an open, supportive, and diverse organization advancing profitable, ecologically sound, and community-enhancing approaches to agriculture through farmer-led investigation and information sharing. We have been around since 1985. Basically, we help farmers and friends of farmers teach each other how to improve their operations via events such as field days, Farminars, the annual conference, workshops like the branding workshop, a cooperators program, and research. And benefits of being a member of the organization include receiving a copy of our field day guide, and members-only email listserv, a discount to our annual conference, and just being a part of this really great food movement that is going on right now. Right now, we are in the midst of field day season. Here is a list of the next 4 field days going around Iowa. Next Saturday, there is one titled Fencing and Watering for Organic Beef, Sheep, and Dairy. And then next week, there's one on high tunnel rainwater collection. And we will be partying at Ragbri. Luke and Sarah and I will, if you would like to join us. And then in early August, Juan O'Sullivan's will be talking about their salsa and the process that they have developed to get that into the market. All of these field days are open to the general public, and most of them are free. Now, you may wonder why branding for farmers? Many farmers, like you all, produce a really high-quality product, and they definitely deserve a brand. When high-quality product has a nice brand on it, whether it's at the farmer's market or in a grocery store or even on a restaurant menu, customers will start to associate a good brand with experiences they've had with that farmer. For instance, if somebody bumped into Ann Franzenberg, pictured here, at the farmer's market in Cedar Rapids and bought some cherry tomatoes from her, and then saw a nicely branded package of that in the New Pioneer Co-op, they'd likely purchase that because they've had that product and they can associate it with Ann's big smile and the taste that they've already had of it. And that same customer might also see some lettuce that Ann also grew, and since they knew she had good tomatoes and they see the Pheasant Run label, they would be more likely to buy that because they know the face of that farmer. I think branding might be more important even for producers that market food on a local scale. People love farmers, especially those that they can associate with their food. And the potential for these farmers to tell a story with a brand, I think, is huge. A lot of farmers that we work with have realized the need for good brands, but don't have that expertise and ask for help creating more effective brands. So last winter, we received funds from the T.R.U.E Foundation to offer branding education to farmers. Part of that funding included seed money for 10 farmers to receive some one-on-one branding consultation to help them start to create their brand. So I then went on a hunt for a good brand consultant that would understand the potential of brands for farmers as well as the need of those farmers. And Andrew Clark was referred to me on more than one occasion when I was searching for him or for a brand person, and it actually ended up being him. He's been really great to work with. He did a workshop with us in March to introduce the idea of branding to farmers, and then has followed up with for the last few months with 10 of those farms to help them start to create their brands. So that's what we're going to do today. I'll turn it over to Andrew. He can introduce himself and the topic a little bit more. And we will have a time for questions at the end, so please record those so that we can answer them then. So it's all you, Andrew.
All right, can everybody hear me okay? Yes, no, maybe so? No, too quiet, okay. How's that? A little bit better? Better. Okay, good. Real quick, I wanted to kind of go through a real quick who Create-Wow Marketing is, where I came from, not from a time-filling standpoint, just to give you a little background of where I come from. Create-Wow Media, the company that my friend Doug started back in 2006, was originally a social media consulting company. And what Doug did with his clients was work with them on establishing social media strategies for blogging, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that fun stuff. And he built a pretty good client base just off using that one channel for marketing. And he and I kind of crossed paths at a group called Central Iowa Bloggers that meets once a month here in Des Moines. That we saw a lot of similarities in the way that we work and the way that we think, and that entrepreneurship wasn't something that one should look down on. And for instance, I was in the agency business since 94 after college, and it was Cubicleville. And it was one of those things where, as independent business owners and entrepreneurs, the ag industry really appealed to me because they were all independently owned, or at least the ones that I related to, were independently owned farmers doing their work and feeding their family from the farm, from the business. They get their hands dirty, boom, they make money. And so Doug and I kind of connected on that because a lot of his clients were ag-based. I won't name names, but a lot of the background that he provided for these clients were for organic search engine optimization of their websites and what he called findability for search engines. So he'd go in, create a strategy for these clients to be have their website rebuilt to fit social media a little bit better and be found easier on search engines. And our relationship was that I would do the graphics and the strategy and the branding for his clients, and he was basically an account manager. So in August of 2010, he was offered a job to go out with a company called Bird Dog Jobs. He took it, and he ended up writing a book called The Multi-Thread Marketer, which if you go to douglasemitchell.com, you can find a way to order that book for anybody that's looking to economically market their company, their brand. It's a really good read. It's short, it's easy. He wrote it himself, he published it himself. Very, very good stuff. So where did the WOW marketing come from? Andrew B. Clark is better known on social media channels as the brand chef. I come from a cooking family, restaurant family, and it just kind of fit. Tongue-in-cheek, I cook up tasty brands and I make them spicy so people remember them. I owned a company called Studio 24 about 5 years ago that was primarily graphic design and photography. And through social media and through the agency world, I kind of mixed in the marketing side. I had been in broadcast video for many years, and through the brand chef, the blog over here, you can see I've been blogging on social media and brand building since 2006. So that's kind of how Doug and our paths crossed. And in August 2010, I up and bought Create-Wow Marketing when he took the job over at Bird Dog. So since then, I've created another site called T.R.U.E, which is a full, comprehensive, multi-author website, basically providing information for people on a weekly basis about marketing, management, creativity, inspiration, all that fun stuff. So anybody who's interested, go on over to rusharketing.com and take a peek at that. So real quick background, I am one of those people that can play on both sides of the brain. It drives my family nuts because I can sit down and be as creative as I'll get out. I'm a published poet. I've done a lot of painting. I went to college for illustration and photography. And then lo and behold, for the last 10 years, I've been doing coding and programming for websites. So I can kind of play on both sides of that fence. And so what I've offered people, my positioning statement, after going through my own branding process, is Create Wow Marketing provides a viable marketing communications resource for small to medium-sized businesses integrating emerging technologies with the proven marketing strategies. Now, basically what that means is I take the new tools and put them to work for you. I can give you a TV commercial, I can give you a print brochure, I can give you a radio spot, I can build you a website, but all those pieces are really just pieces unless you really start thinking about branding. And so when Sally got a hold of me through the numerous channels that she went through, we decided to put together this Put a Face on Your Farm presentation. From what I can recall, it was an extremely snowy morning. It was gorgeous, big white flakes kind of hanging out. A lot of the folks that came to the seminar had to travel quite a ways. So I needed to make it valuable for them, so they wouldn't walk away saying, well, that was a waste of hours or a whole day of my time. We sat and ate. We had a great workshop. What I have as a marketing tool and a consulting tool is what's called T.R.U.E branding, and it's a workbook that I take my clients through, and I did an abbreviated version of this for the Put a Face on Your Farm presentation that after the T.R.U.E branding overview, the presentation that you'll get a synopsis of here this afternoon, I took them all, broke them out into groups, and took them all through this T.R.U.E branding workshop and workbook. I will have that workbook up on the Practical Farmers page on my website. If anybody here would like to download that, I am more than happy to let you do that. But basically, they came to this interview or this seminar asking me, what can branding do for us? We're farmers. We've been working on the land since God knows when. We've always done it this way. We've never had to cognitively think about marketing. It was a communication tool. It was a collaboration tool, building communities. Word of mouth was always the big tool that farmers used in marketing their goods and their services. And I wanted to make it very clear to them that they were really just scratching the surface when it came to who their brand is, what they mean to their community, their branding community, and how much bigger it could be if they were to do it right. So the group that I talked to, I know we had a little survey earlier about what you produce. The folks that came to this seminar were primarily organic. They prided themselves in local sustainability, fruit and vegetables. They did a lot of selling at farmers markets. Most of them were family, even multi-generational farms. And bottom line, they were all entrepreneurs. And a lot of people in the corporate world, a lot of people in the ag world don't put the word entrepreneur in with agriculture. And I think that's a huge mistake, because the definition by basic terms of an entrepreneur is someone that starts a business to self-sustain. What have farmers been doing for the last 100 years, thousands of years? So that really hit home for me. So one of my favorite authors, George Bernard Shaw, gave me a little inspiration. So you see things, you say why, but I dream things that never were, and I say why not? That's an entrepreneur. I dare you to stop me from dreaming my dream and making it happen. So the good and bad of business and entrepreneurship for ag: motivation and passion. We're losing a lot of that with this generation coming up. From who I've talked to, both in the ag industry and outside the ag industry, we're not getting as motivated in the next generation. Generation Y, Generation Z, they're having a hard time getting motivated. So that's a concern. But typical entrepreneurs and small business owners do have that motivation and passion. They're nimble. They work on a bootstrap. I'm sure all of you have heard that phrase. And they're able to get through systems quickly without the arduous in and out of the red tape of large corporations. They have focus. Something that that was one of my concerns being a creative and starting my business is I have a hard time focusing. I'm distracted by the next shiny object. So it is pretty fun to coach people on focus when that is one of my biggest downfalls. So entrepreneurs are risk averse, and that's kind of a double-edged sword because they're risk averse, but they also need to be conservative when it comes to their investments, when it comes to their time and their money. So, and again, they're resourceful. They collaborate, they work with teams, not necessarily hired people, but they do know how to use their resources wisely and stretch that out to the bootstrapping model. Some of the downfalls, this right side here that's in the red, their relationships and their networking tends to be a lot narrower. It's harder to build that deep base when you're working independently and you don't have a networking model, especially if you're on the farm doing a lot of the work. It's hard to learn from your mistakes. A lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners, farmers are conservative, a little bit self-motivated, and a little bit bullheaded. I come from a couple generations of farmers that went into the restaurant business. So don't tell me that I don't understand bullheadedness. Their willingness to adapt to change, same deal. And also the budget. If you're supporting a family, you're supporting employees or contract laborers or anybody else, that's always tough. So the budget is a huge issue, and if you're not good at budgeting, it's going to be a rough run. And then brand marketing. The number one important thing about being an entrepreneur is to understand what brand marketing is, not just sales, not just marketing. It all kind of goes together. So Mark Twain, another one of my favorite guys, many small thing has been made large by the right kind of advertising. Well, that's kind of a duh. Well, many a small thing is made huge by the right kind of advertising in the negative aspect as well. So top 10 marketing mistakes, at least in my opinion and who I've surveyed: financial overload, going out and buying equipment you can't afford yet. The misconception, if you build it, they will come. Now, I love Kevin Costner as much as the next guy, but darn him for doing that movie and making it so popular. I've had many, many, many encounters with entrepreneurs that say, I'm going to do this because I think it's a good idea. Well, you may think it's a good idea, but building a ballpark in your North 40 probably isn't going to be as socially acceptable as we tell by the movie, and God knows ghosts aren't going to walk out and hand you money. So that's kind of a rough one. Reinventing the wheel, don't do that unless you've got trade secrets, unless you've got a product that nobody's touched before, nobody's heard of. It's really kind of silly to reinvent the wheel. Part of my world, advertising marketing, is the saying goes, nothing that has been said today wasn't said in the past. There's nothing new under the sun, so don't try to create something new. Just make it your own and own it with your brand. Planning without action. An author, one of my favorite authors, Seth Godin, marketing guru, social media guru, wrote a book recently, and one of the chapters talked about planning without action. And I used to be that guy. Post-its all over the place, great ideas, notes on how I'm going to get to the next, get that golden ring, but never really took action. And not until August of 2010 did I actually grab that golden ring and really run with it. So my next big challenge was boredom. I sit in my office. I sat here today by myself. My interns were gone. My camera crew was gone. And I caught myself on Facebook. I'm not making money if I'm on Facebook. Now, granted, I do some Facebook for my clients, so that was my excuse. But if you go back and look at my Facebook profile, there's some posts there that weren't business related. So bad on Andrew. Another big mistake is keeping a shallow network. Dive deep. When you leave your facility, when you leave your office, when you leave your house, think today, who am I going to meet that I didn't meet yesterday? Build a deep network, because otherwise, if you're dependent on that shallow network, they say you can drown in 2 inches of water, and I've seen people do it. So taking the misconception, but they do it that way. You'll see in my presentation here that that phrase is a no-no. You're not unique, and you're not going to step away from your competition if you keep that in mind. And then missing the target. Obviously, if you're not marketing to the right people, you're not speaking their language, however you want to put it, you're going to fail. And then finally, and probably not the least important, but should be up there, is overvaluation. I've seen a lot of people come out with product that they think is the next great thing, and to them, yeah, it's great, but they haven't found their market, and they've overvalued it, and they can't move it. So big mistakes. Those things, keep track of those mistakes. Avoid them at all costs, and you'll be well on your way to starting and running your own profitable business. This presentation will be downloadable on my website. There's a link at the end of this, so I'll let you all do that whenever you get the time. The biggest mistake, not planning, not marketing by your true brand. And TRUE is an acronym. So let's qualify this. I hate PowerPoint. I like speaking live so I can see eyes and have people raise hands and interject. So I am going to keep an eye on the chat box over here. If anybody wants to ask me a question in the midst of my presentation, interrupt, please do so. I would rather engage you than click this mouse. So that's just a real quick interjection there. Branding begets marketing. 3 things I never lend: my horse, my wife, and my name. People know that every person has a brand and a reputation. Mike Tyson has a brand and a reputation. Whether he wants it or not, he's got it. Every business has a brand and a reputation, just like people. Nike shoes, they've got a brand, the swoosh, the visual look, and a reputation. High quality sports gear, geared towards sports. You don't see a whole lot of Nike high heels out there. They focus. That's the part I need you guys to pay attention to today. So the 3 things I never lend: my horse, my wife, and my name. How branding actually got its name. I'm sure a lot of you, because you're, because you're ag-based, understand branding. The searing of the farm logo into your livestock. It was used to identify the ranch. It was a unique on your livestock that would differentiate your cattle, your sheep, your horses, whatever it might be, from every other one on the range, even if they all pretty much look alike. Me being kind of a city boy, if I walked over to a fence with barbed wire down one side and I saw brown horses on one side and brown horses on the other, I wouldn't know who belonged to who. But the brand does. If they came close enough, I could tell. The essence of branding: every time you see, hear, or think of a brand, Domino's Pizza, you'll think of your experience with it. Does it taste good? They reformulated their sauce and have been doing this huge rebranding about the new sauce, the new pizzas. Has anybody out there been impressed? Have you become loyal Domino's fans yet? I'd be interested to find out. Relationships, experiences. The way you treat your customers is part of your brand. If you're at a farmer's market or if you're at a retail shop and you're selling your ware and you're rude, although you may have the best produce or the best product on the planet, you're rude, that affects your brand. On the other hand, I noticed that Sally had mentioned Juan O'Sullivan's salsa. I know Sean quite well, actually, he's a family friend. And I love his salsa. I create salsa myself, so he and I have always had this ongoing joke of whose salsa is better. But I think he sells his salsa because he goes to these farmers markets and he's engaging. He gets people excited about his product when it's just another jar of salsa. It's locally owned, locally grown. He puts passion into it, and he tells his story, and it's phenomenal. And it's this little Irish guy selling a Mexican product, which is ironic in itself. But it's the relationship and the experience that he puts in there. So what will customers say about your company's brand experience? Just like I did with Sean Sullivan's salsa. Juan O'Sullivan's salsa is fantastic. Probably better tasting than anything else on the national level. Pace, Chi-Chi's, whatever you want to go for. But I buy his stuff because I like him and his brand and the way they do business. Brand management, I'll tell you what, just like my Tyson point earlier, if you do not define your brand, and Mike Tyson's handlers didn't do that very well, it will be defined for you. Star Walker says, being rude may affect brand, but it doesn't seem to affect sales for one of the biggest farmers markets that we attend. That's interesting. Is their product so good that their rudeness is overlooked? That's an interesting point. I'd like to talk to you about that later. Brand management is a process, not a project you decide to do because it's the next big thing or the in thing. I've seen a lot of people start a branding process with me, with Create Wow and Studio 24, to eventually drop it because it's too much work. Go figure. They didn't want to control their brand because it was too much time. But it doesn't have to be costly. I'll tell you what, hands in the air, I'm standing here like a preacher saying, don't pay me a dime. Go download, when I give you the link, go download the True Branding Workbook, go through it, and all I ask is you take the time to build the resolutions in the back page. That'll at least get you pointed in the right direction. Then call someone, call me, or call anybody that's a branding or marketing person and say, this is what I've come to the decisions based on the True Branding process. So what you're about to hear is common sense. True branding is not magic. I'm not recreating the wheel. Truth, brand is not your logo. Thank God. If the logo was my brand, I'd be in trouble. I bought the Create Wow marketing logo from Doug. I like it. It's interesting. It has snap. It has verve, but it probably wouldn't have been what I designed initially, or what I would have designed to begin with. So, but as you can see, logo. How many people out there know somebody with a Nike swoosh tattooed to their ankle or somewhere on their body? You know, I don't want the Create Wow logo tattooed anywhere. So, true branding. True branding starts with what? Truthful. It's an acronym, truth. Understanding the 5 W's of yourself, your company, your business, whatever it might be. Who, what, when, where, why, and then they throw how in there for some reason. But it's based on the 5 W's of investigative reporting. Something I dabbled in college. I wanted to be a reporter. So it makes sense. You get to the bottom of the story, you find the foundation, and that's the truth. It starts there. Are you relevant? So you take those 5 W's and you understand how those 5 W's relate to your target audience. Not the world in general, but the folks that you're going to be marketing to. How does that make you relevant? And if that's hard to figure out, then step back and really evaluate the truth. Because a lot of people tend to lie to themselves. And we can get into that in a little bit. Is it unique? Don't do what other people are doing. Sure, I'm a marketer. I'm a branding guy. I do social media. But the way I do it, the way I approach it, the fact that I focus on a certain industry, the fact that I deal a certain way, guarantees aside, separates me from the marketer that's easily less than a block away. Makes me unique. Are you engaging? That's the big one, especially today. Marketing has gotten quicker. Marketing has gotten easier, and I put easier in quotes because it's not, but people think so. But engaging people needs to be a strategy. Farmers market's a great example. If you set up a 10 by 10 table, but you end up being around the corner from the main line of traffic, it's going to be a little more difficult to be engaging. So it's being at the right time, the right place, and talking to the people the way they understand to be spoken to. So, is your brand a true brand? Truthful, relevant, unique, and engaging. John 8:23. I know all of us have heard this. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I just picture Jim Carrey in the movie Liar, Liar, screaming at the top of his lungs. It's one of those where it's an obvious, duh. Tell the truth, especially when you're in sales and marketing. If you're found in a lie, that's 10 times worse than if somebody discovered it and you just didn't say it. We won't talk about Casey Anthony, but you kind of get it. So here are the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who drives your brand? Is it you? Is it your clients? Figure that out. Because once you know who has the control of your brand, it gets a lot easier. What events built and sustain your brand? Are you a family farm, multi-generational, or is this new for you? You just get out of college, you got your agronomy degree, you're feeling pretty strong about this, and you jump into it. That's great. Why? When? When is a good one? Everyone has challenges, everyone has ups and downs, every business is the same way. There's the typical bipolar business that tends to have these monstrous ups and monstrous downs because they can't control the who or the what. So you have to understand what your best and worst moments are and find the happy medium. Preferably leaning towards your best, but it's much easier to steer a ship in the right direction than to turn into the wind every 5 seconds. Where is your brand? Where is it from? This kind of goes back to the who. Where is it from? Create Wow Media is where my brand is from. Where is the brand going? The brand chef and Create Wow Marketing have gussied up the services that we provide. Yes, I actually used the word gussied up. I apologize. And we're moving forward in a new market. How will your brand survive moving forward? And that's where marketing plan comes in. That's where you put pencil to paper and say, in the next 6 months, I'm going to go from a 4-person operation to a 6-person operation. That's 50% growth, and our revenue is going to do the same. How? Sell more? Sure. That means you have to grow more. Or find efficiencies, less waste? Sure. Or cut costs. Please don't cut marketing because that would cut me out of the loop. But you see where I'm going with that. Is your brand a true brand? Dale Carnegie, one of the best presenters on the planet. Your purpose is to make your audience see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt. It's my favorite part. relevant. Do my clients get what I do? Is your target market in tune with you? If you grow kohlrabi and I'm at the farmer's market, you see this guy in a goofy Boston Red Sox hat, I have no idea what a kohlrabi is. So are you marketing to me? Is your product relevant to me? What's the intrinsic appeal of your brand? Juan O'Sullivan. Sean has great salsa. One, I'm a salsa fan. I love spicy food. Two, he's an engaging guy. But the intrinsic appeal is its taste and it's locally grown, and that's what sold me on it. Good guy. How do you amplify or fortify that? Engagement. Ever-presence. Always being there. Building on the positive aspects of your brand and de-emphasizing the negative. I'll keep using Sean because I know some of his disadvantages. Logistics. He can't ship all over the nation. He does now, but he had logistic issues a couple years ago. Staff. For a while, it was just he and his wife. He solved that. So he moves on. Now, the big question is, as you saw the first bullet point, is your marketing tuned to you, but are you in tune with your market? Do some market research. Figure out what people are wanting. I read a book recently called How Companies Win. It's a fantastic book, and it's kind of taking the supply and demand model and tipping it on its ear. A lot of you producers may get this. I hope you do, but what they've done is they've said, stop building a volume of merchandise and selling it. Start listening to your market and giving them what they're asking for. So if you're a farmer of a certain product, do you reserve 10 acres for one particular product, or do you split it, knowing that last farmer's market or last year, people were kind of looking for purple cabbage, and I'm just throwing that out there, but kind of get where I'm going. Understanding where your market wants to go, and take logical channels. If your client base isn't on Twitter, don't set up a Twitter account. It's a waste of time. Now, saying that as a social media marketing guy, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're outselling yourself." No, I'm not. It's a waste of my time to set you up with a Twitter campaign because you're not going to get followers and you're going to think I'm doing my job badly. So use logical channels. If it's farmers market and flyers you hand out, let's do that. If it's Facebook, let's do that. So use the logical channels and make it relevant. If you know where your market is, go there. Is your brand a true brand? Bette Midler, lover. Cherish forever what makes you unique, because you're really a yawn if it goes. So there you are. And the ahem down below there is, I don't know a lot of people that can quote St. John and Bette Midler in the same presentation. So there you go. Is your brand unique? Differentiation from a crowded marketplace. For everybody out there that does farmers market, and I'm going to pick on tomato growers today, I go to the Des Moines downtown farmers market, and I cannot walk 10 feet without hitting tomatoes. What makes your tomatoes, beef eater, heirloom, I don't care what they are, what makes them unique? What makes them different from the table 3 tables down from yours? You need to know that. Then you need to make that your focal point for your marketing communications. Jenny Smith at Butcher Creek Farms does a very good job at that. She does heirloom tomatoes. She's very engaging, very intelligent, very well spoken, and she makes her community, her brand community, follow her from farmers market to farmers market. And she's picked up some pretty high-end restaurants that order heirloom tomatoes strictly from her. She doesn't grow beef eaters, from what I know. She doesn't grow onions. That's it. That's her focal point. Not different for different sake. My best case in point is my daughter, who is 17 years old, came home with black hair, black makeup, red lipstick, black clothes, and moped around the house for about a week. She wanted to be goth. And I kind of giggled at her. I said, why are you doing this? Well, I want to be different. And so I said, okay, fine. I said, you give me 1 week and let me drive you to school, and we'll talk about this look later. So the week goes by, and every time I dropped her off at school, guess what happened? She got out of the car, she walked into this gaggle of goths, and she blended in, and I couldn't see her from 10 feet away. Don't be different for different sake, because everyone's trying to do that. Be unique. Shocking is not unique, especially in social media. You want to be the shock jock, you want to be Mr. In Your Face, fine. And it may be the Star Walker's being rude guy, maybe that's his point, but it dies out and gets old pretty quick. So, is your brand a true brand? My favorite author, my romantic side coming out of me, true love stories never have endings. Honestly, if you're really engaged with your clients, they'll stick around. They'll come back year after year. They'll ask you why you're not growing a certain product, or they're asking if you're still processing a certain way. They're interested. It's a selfish reason. I want healthy food. I'm going to you because you produce healthy food. But in the same sense, I'm in your brand, I'm part of your community because you do it for me. That's the engaging part. So what touch points do you provide? You're at farmer's market, you shake hands, you give out flyers, business cards. Your website tells you where you're going to be. That's all pretty basic. Is it push marketing? And I say push marketing because that's distribution. That's handing out business cards, sending direct mailers, sending out email blasts. That's pushing. And honestly, it pushes people away. If I stood at a box, there's a guy at the Des Moines Farmers Market that does this. Stands on a box in the middle of the intersection and starts screaming about God and preaching about the end of the earth. That's called push preaching. I don't want to listen to that. Engage me. Pull me in. Pull me into the conversation. Make it engaging. Give me a reason to talk to you, like Jenny Smith does. She sits down, she chats. It's harder to give customer service to everyone, but the customers that she's engaging they feel important, they feel blessed to have her time, and they'll come back again and again. They won't demand her attention next time because they know how busy she is. She's building that brand community. It's very important. I threw this part in because a lot of people ask me about social media. It's very engaging if you're doing it right. Social media plus networking plus marketing is social medworking. I just coined that phrase. If you're doing social medworking, you're doing it all. And you're doing it all right. I'm from a divorced family, so you have to understand that social media takes time. Are you one of those ever-present parents, or are you the weekend parents? And which one adds more value to their children? Sorry, didn't mean to get personal there. Support is a two-way street. If you're out there engaging your customers, they will engage you and support you. I'll use another case of the farmers market here in Des Moines. A friend of mine is in a band, a 3-person little trio, and they put their little guitar case out there. They play banjo, harpsichord, and bass. Great music. And their patrons stand there blocking blocking or whatever the locust, because they're engaging. They support them. Their guitar case is full of not only ones, but 5, 10s, and 20s by the time they leave. It's fantastic. They've built a brand community. People ask them where they're going to buy CDs. You can go online and buy them at my website. Not my website, theirs, but they're saying that to their customers. Supporting. So brand community. One of the biggest things, and the only statistic I got in this presentation, because I hate statistics, in a survey done by Nielsen, Trust in Advertising, when asked, a certain group said, how many of you trust traditional advertising? TV, radio, print, newspaper, all that fun stuff. 14%. Now, from a marketer's standpoint, that's not bad. If you get a 5% return, a 1% return on a direct mail piece, you're not doing bad. So 14% of those asked trusted traditional marketing. Can you guess what the 78% of people trusted? Referrals from friends. If you have a brand community, if your neighbor's best friend came to you and you trusted that person, and they said, you need to go to the farmer's market and get the beef jerky done by Ted down on the 4th table from 5th and Main, you won't be disappointed. Guess who they're going to choose? Ted didn't send him a flyer. He was a referral. And that's what a brand community can do for you. If you've got a true brand based on the truth, you're relevant to your market, you're unique from everybody else that has a table out there, and you're engaging, you'll build that community. So that's true branding. That's kind of in a really quick nutshell, not really quick, half an hour, nutshell, what we presented at the Put a Face on Your Farm seminar in March. The folks listed up here were the $1,000 grant recipients. They were everywhere from baffled to excited to win this $1,000. Some of the people that won had no clue what they needed done. Others came to me and already had a marketing plan written up, already had ideas, already were halfway down the road, and I had to kind of pull the reins back on them. So I'll go through these real quick. I've got a handful of case studies that we'll look at. John and Jane Westphal, we're still working with them. They are looking to get a new logo for their products, and we've just had the challenge of the planting season in spring, so we're still kind of working with them and not a lot to tell about them. Kim and Tim Blair, we're working on new logo and marketing plan for their Bloom and Bark Dog Bakery. Jenny Smith, you heard me talk about her earlier. She has a very, very unique situation, and she not only does the heirloom tomatoes through Butcher Creek, but she's also going to be going to New Zealand in January, I want to say, and consult with them on agriculture and marketing and so forth. So we're going to kind of tilt her marketing plan to take advantage of that vacation. So I tease her about. So, but that's going to be a neat one. Eric and Ann Franzenberg, you heard Sally talk about Ann earlier tonight, and we're working with them on developing a better website, one that's a little more engaging and a little more accessible to the folks that they market to. The Rossman Family Farm, they already had things in progress. They had a friend, or I think their cousin, working on some new logos for them. And so what I provided to them was an online collaboration space, a hub wherein they could share resources. I would jump on and collaborate and say, yeah, this makes sense from a marketing standpoint. The branding is pointing you in one direction, but that logo may not fit. So they're really kind of taking a pretty independent approach to this, and I'm kind of flying over them as Mother Bird. Alicia Deal from Organic Greens, we've got her we got Alicia, Kathy, Melissa, Emily, and Carol all in the next following pages. So Organic Greens, they needed to update their logo. They needed a good website to work with, and we're just now getting past that logo part and going through some drafts. So I'm excited to show those to you. Kathy Hull and her family, they've got a really nice agritourism place down in southeastern Iowa called, it was, past tense, was called Kathy's Pumpkin Patch. And we went through a renaming process with her and new logos and some ideas thrown over to her. She since has gone and taken that project, because we ran out of time, to a local shop, and I'm excited to see what they end up working with when we get done with them. And then Melissa Dunham from Grinnell Heritage Farms, working very well with her through that same collaboration online software, and developing her a better Salesforce website. And then Emily Babin, oh, God love her, she was starting the aquaponic farming in Pinora, Iowa, and it was literally at ground zero. She had started some logos with a friend of hers, was at the point where she was kind of pulling her hair out, and you'll see here in a little bit what we ended up doing. And then Carol Prescott, we're going to bring her on live here a little bit to talk about what we did outside just the Prescott family farm. She's done some really interesting things outside of what they produce, and we've built a brand identity and a website under Iowa Color. So let's take a look at that. Are there any questions? Go ahead and write them up here real quick before we get into what we've done physically with these folks. Anybody? Anybody? You're all asleep, I can tell. I can't hear you snoring, but I can feel it. So, alrighty, let's jump into Organic Greens. We've gone through, again, like I said, we built a really nice collaboration hub where we can get in there. All the files are stored online. Everything is in the cloud, so to speak. And so when we collaborate, she can put up comments about a logo designs, and then I can go up and look at them. I get emailed notified when she's made comments. And so you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new logos that we've gone through now. And we're into our 9th logo. She faxed me some ideas the other day that she and the owner of Organic Greens put together, and we're going to be tweaking those. She also likes number 1 of the second page, the one with the kind of the crescent moon there. And so we're kind of going with those ideas, but we're kind of getting there. Got color scheme down, got fonts down, everything's looking really nice. So we're excited for that. Oh, didn't mean to do that in the second flip. So this is Kathy Hull's. Kathy's Pumpkin Patch is now Harvestville Farms. And that was a fun process. We went through probably 35 different names, many different iterations of the names. You can see The Harvest Farm, Harvest Farms. I think I've got, I don't even have them all written down, but because they're a multi-seasonal agritourism place, we really tried to throw in a lot of the imagery, and it kind of got busy, and I could see where their ideas were going and trying to make it printable and trying to make it into a sign and all those things. So a lot of the challenges, and you can see in the upper right-hand corner of that front page what their logo looked like before. So a lot of things were still being carried over, and the rich, dark, rustic colors and the feeling of that. So I'm excited to see what she's come up with their local sign company. And then we've got Melissa Dunham. This is her website. For those of you who know Melissa, she doesn't do pasta. If you look at the picture on the website mock-up, that's only for mock-up. The site's not live yet, but you can kind of see what we've done. I'm giving her a really nice dynamic homepage for people to land on. You can see that this needs a great call to action. We haven't even written the copy for it yet. So we're still in its infancy, but she really likes the way the structure's coming together. She already had a great rustic logo. Things look really nice. So very excited about the way that's processing. And then this is what Emily Babin has come up with. We went through probably 5 or 6 really good rounds of logo designs. And as you can see, we've kind of incorporated the plant, the sun, the water, early morning harvest. The harvest, the word itself is in that dark brown. So really it speaks a lot about everything that she does, everything that Early Morning Harvest does from an aquaponics standpoint is built into this logo. And now now she's got a conversation piece. So when people come up and they ask, "Oh wow, great new logo," and she'll, instead of saying thanks, "Would you like some bread?" She'll go, "Yeah, but did you know that this logo is built around what we do?" Obviously the plant that's a given, but there's a sunrise, early morning. There's the blue. There's the water that our fish grow in that feed our food or feed our produce. And of course the harvest is the foundation. So a lot of this is all touchy-feely, kind of hokey, hippy-dippy stuff, but it's really what I love to do. This is what branding is all about, giving things a foundation that people can then go from. So we built packaging, we did some labels for her, and then of course the last one here is her website that is not live yet. If you go to earlymorningharvest.com, you'll see a big black holding page, "Hey, we're coming soon." But I thought I'd kind of give you a little sneak peek of what we did for her. And then finally, and with, not because it's not last but least, but this is Carol's page where, of course, I built her the online resource where we kind of collaborated and carried on a very nice conversation. These are the logo ideas that we had presented to her, variations on 3 of them, and then that middle one, number 2, is the one that she actually picked. Now, if you look over to the right-hand top side there, you can see that we built her website on what's called a WordPress platform, so she can manage it herself. She can go in, change content, change photos, update her calendars, all that fun stuff, and I'll let her kind of talk about it. But then the lower right-hand page was a video that I had put together and narrated to show her, just because of logistics, normally I do that face-to-face, but to show her how to use the content management system. And it was very fun. I want her to get on here soon and kind of tell her side of the story, because I haven't talked to her since I uploaded the video, but very, very fun. So those are the folks that we did, both from branding standpoint, consulting standpoint, and then just giving them the ability to communicate online. A lot of the folks were just appreciative of having an online source to collaborate in. So really, right now I'm at that point. Are there any questions before I hand it over to Carol about the T.R.U.E branding process, anything about Create Wow, anything about Practical Farmers and Create Wow? Fire away. Kathy, I see you're typing. What's going on? Yeah, a good logo. That's a good question. Good is subjective. Objective, subjective. Like I said about the Create Wow logo, the wow itself I thought was very dynamic, but I hated the create and the marketing or the media that Doug originally used. And so I redid it. And so I think the weight of your logo, like I said, your brand is not your logo, but it is kind of the lipstick that makes it pretty. If it's professional, if it's clean, if it's clear, I think you're 10 times further than the guy that doesn't have a logo. If it's professionally designed, if it has story behind it, if it has what I call girth, it carries weight, kind of like the Early Morning Harvest, there's a conversation that goes on around that, then I think that's even better. So, logos are important. I'm not going to say put all your weight on your logo, because most of it's your brand, which is you, your farm, your product, your experience. Your logo, for lack of a better phrase, is the lipstick that makes it look good. Does that make sense? Good. Okay, Kathy, she also said how much is the farm budget for creating a logo. Being an entrepreneur and having been in this industry for 20 some odd years, I have done logos for everywhere from $50 to $10,000. And yeah, I just heard about 10 jaws hit the table. $10,000 is what it took to get this monstrosity of a company to buy off on their logo. Most of it was time. If you're smart, if you plan, you can do a logo very economically. Especially these days, I'm not going to say that what I do is magic. I'm a good artist. I'm a very visual person. I understand how to take what you do and make a visual representation of it into an icon or a logo. But you know what? You know your industry just as well, if not better, than your neighbor, and you can go find those images just as fast. The web is a beautiful thing. Just make sure it's not a copywritten icon and you use it smart. Trademarking and finding an image that you can really use requires some origination. Then you come to folks like myself and other freelance designers that won't charge you an arm and a leg like the agencies will. So budget, I'd say anywhere from $750 to $1,500 should get you a good logo. Not a whole lot more, but the good logos kind of should be in that world. And I may have just put my foot in my mouth with all the agencies out there, but that's the way life goes. Can I start my true brand before developing the produce and the market? Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. You know exactly what you're going to be doing before you lay seed one or whatever you're going to be doing. Then you should have that plan set in action. Find out the truth. Find out how that's going to be relevant to your market, how you're going to be relevant to the market. Make it unique. For God's sake, make it unique. I'll walk by table after table at farmers markets, even at a mall. I'll walk by open doors with great sales going on just because they're not unique. And then engage me. Make me want to like you. That's the best thing on earth. So yeah, I think you can definitely do that before you start doing produce. Branding before the business plan, after, during. What are your thoughts? I think during. I think it should all happen at the same time. Your business plan, and I do a lot of seminars for small to medium-sized business entrepreneurs, outside the ag industry as well. But when you're building your business plan, you've got to have an idea of who you're marketing to already. So that true branding process will take you halfway there. The business plan is going to be a lot of financials, a lot of who, fors, why nots, and all that kind of stuff. The true branding process will at least get you mentally prepared to answer those questions should a banker or your investment folks want to answer those questions. So yeah, I'd say during, if not before. After, I'd hate to do it after because you're halfway down a road. If somebody throws you money and you haven't done a true branding process, they're throwing some money at a pretty risky investment. That's just my opinion. So thanks for that question, Luke. That was good. Anybody else? All righty. What I'll do real quick, I would love to hear from anybody about future seminars for branding. I do social media marketing strategy, either webinars or one-on-one consultations. And then right here, createwowmarketing.com practical-farmers is where this presentation will be, as well as probably tomorrow that true workbook will also be. So if that's it, I will turn the reins over to Carol. Is she ready to roll?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Andrew, I think your mic turned off, so you could turn that back on.
Did you want my mic back on?
Are we ready for Carol? Carol, we can't hear you, so will you try to hit your mic on again?
Okay, can you hear me now? Yes, you can hear me? Okay, I'm sorry. I will start over. I'm Carol Prescott, and I will turn it down a little bit. And very loud. All right, I will talk normally and stop shouting. I went to the WOW marketing and came away with some good ideas, but I really didn't put it into use until Sally called me and said, "You're a recipient of one of the scholarships. How come you haven't used it?" And I misplaced the email somewhere. I didn't know anything about it, and I'd already started going to farmers market. So when I started communicating with Andrew, I let him know that the one thing I needed the most was flexibility. Because I want to sell the excess from my garden that my family doesn't use, but also have the flexibility to add in other products. One thing I do is barn quilting, and so I wanted to be able to add that into a website, antler art, and there's other things I have in the back of my mind that I would like to go after in the future, along with the organic produce that we raise on our farm. So I've had a very good experience in doing this because it's really made me think and got me really excited about the possibility of eventually leaving farmers market and having people come to me either via the internet or coming to my farm to get my products. I found it was interesting when Andrew was talking about the video is on my website to show me how to update and edit and add things. I've been looking all over for that video, so I'm glad to find out where it's at. I don't know what else I can tell you. It's been a very good experience. I can't wait to get my website live and add in things. From farmers market, I tell people I'm going to get a website because one thing that they consistently ask for is they want to see more of my barn quilts or more of my ideas about barn quilts and what I can do. So I'd be able to have that there for them and they'd be able to communicate with me. Another way that I hope to use the website is when I have certain products available. Like right now I have onions and rhubarb. That way my farmers market clientele would know if they're coming to farmers market what I'll have and be able to order in advance or let me know they're coming and hold some back or something. That pretty much tells my whole story. This is my first year selling anything off my farm. We've been on the farm for many years, but I've worked in town, so it's been a good experience, and I encourage everybody to use the T.R.U.E. brand marketing. It will take you outside of your normal box of thinking and give you some great ideas. Why was that the one I chose? When I went through the T.R.U.E. branding, I'm answering the question, tell us about the decision process with the logo. Why was that the one you chose? When I thought about what I was trying to do with the website and marketing in general, I want to encourage and myself to eat color in the produce and in things we eat. Our plate should be filled with color. And what's unique about my farm? Well, everything that I produce or make comes from Iowa, whether it's the deer antlers or the barn quilts or the produce. The reason I went with the third one, I just really liked the blue, and I liked the Tipsy Turvy in the barn quilt, and I liked how the Prescott Farm stuck out. I showed the samples to many different people, and everyone, oh man, they're all great, they look good. My original idea was much different than these, but I like this one a lot better. It just appealed to me. Something about the blue, I think in the word color, and then the different colors in the pinwheel, it just jumped out at me. Okay, yeah, my website isn't up yet, but we're working on it, and now I know where the video is, so that will help. So, okay. I'm not sure what else I can share with you except that that it's been a good process for me, and I look forward to getting it up and going and having the flexibility to change, add more products, delete others, and let my clientele know what I have right now, what I will have available, and what I'm working on. So if Kathy is typing a question to me, I'll wait. Otherwise, I will turn the mic back over to Andrew or Luke. Yes, Kathy, I will use Facebook to communicate with my customers. That's kind of what got me into growing things to sell. Last year I had excess white pumpkins and specialty gourds that I grew for fun, and I put a picture out on Facebook and said, you know, white pumpkins and specialty gourds for sale, any takers? And I sold all of them through Facebook. So when my website is up, I plan on announcing it on Facebook, so then my customers, so that people who know me know what I'm doing, and can purchase items or talk to me about it if they like. Oh, web is not big in this part of Maine. Okay. How did you let your customers know you had a Facebook page? Well, my Facebook friends became my customers. The Facebook came before the farm. Back last year, I just put a picture out there, and that's when I decided to use Farmers Market. So now my clientele at Farmers Market are, quote, strangers. They're my friends now, my repeat customers, of course, but are strangers. So that's how customers know I have a Facebook page. And once I get my website up too, I'll be able to direct people to it and let them know I'm on Facebook. All the social links can be integrated easily. Great. So your friends became your fans? No. They just would, people that knew me and saw it on Facebook, like, would just say, I would like this many pumpkins, I would like this many gourds, and I'd just run around and deliver them and collect their money last fall. So that's when I thought, boy, this is kind of fun. I think I would like to grow more things and create more things and develop this market. This really, I really like this. My garden's my happy place, so that's pretty much what's worked out for me. So if there's no more questions for me, I will go ahead and turn off my mic and turn it over to either Andrew or Luke.
Just real quick, I got a note from Luke that somebody was still looking for the URL for that presentation, for this presentation, and the T.R.U.E workbook, which I'll get up there here later on today or tomorrow. Kathy asks, how can you know if your customers are Facebook users? there is some research out there. There's a lot of tools that if you search Facebook and go under groups and find similar groups, you'll find kind of your market that you're looking for. A really good way to do that is, Kathy, what do you do? You sell trees. Okay. Is it a farmer's market kind of thing, or is it you have to go to your farm to see what you're selling? Okay. From a Facebook standpoint, I think you would have a harder time. What I would probably suggest is start direct marketing to your past clients, hoping, knocking on wood, that you've kept a database of past sales and addresses or emails or something like that saying these are the folks that have bought in the past, and then send out a direct mail program to them saying, hey, we're on Facebook now. You can see current, that perfect, you got their emails. You can do an email campaign to them saying, as a past client of ours, we'd like to let you know we got a Facebook page where you can get updated on new plants, new trees, what we're harvesting, so on and so forth. I don't know your industry, but that would be the quickest way. And then once you've got a good 15, 20, 100 fans on your Facebook page, then you can start going on Facebook and engaging them there and running promotions and specials and say, hey, I've got a florist that's a client of ours, and we run specials every Friday. It's Two-Stem Friday. And on Facebook, if you answer a trivia question, we'll double your order. Silly things like that. But, that's kind of how to get the ball rolling, and then we build a strategy for social media campaigns off of that. How's our time doing? We got 20 after 8. Luke and Sally, what time do we need to be off? 8:30. Cool. 10 minutes. Any more questions? Carol, thank you. Your video is up in the hub. It's there. It's a huge video. It has my pleasant voice all over the place. So if you can't find it, I can put it on YouTube or Vimeo and make it private, and I'll send you a password for it. But since it's all about your website, I didn't want to put it in anywhere public. So any other questions? Good. I'm going right now to see if that link works. Luke asks about finding a good consultant since they're not in Iowa. I have run, here's my pitch, and I'm not here to sell my services for anything. I've got clients everywhere in the nation. I've got clients in Canada. The internet has made it fairly irrelevant. Now, if it's a situation where you need me to come out on your farm or your facility and see what's going on, then there's issues. But with Skype, with social media, with email, with video conferencing, all that fun stuff, it really doesn't matter. If you find someone that you trust, if you like what you've seen here, let me know. On another situation, I do have a very, very good network of marketing professionals that I work with. And I know we had one up in Maine. I don't know if working with someone in Boston would be too far away from you, but that's probably the closest I could get to Maine. I lived in Boston for a few years while I was in school, and I've stayed in touch with quite a few of the marketers out there. So, Kathy, okay, farmer tried creating their own logo. What pitfalls should they watch out for? I don't know. I can't, honestly, if you have a good visual eye and you understand your brand, I'd say go for it. Get it to a point where you are comfortable with it. Knowing most entrepreneurs, you're never going to be comfortable, happy with it. And then have a designer or somebody look it over and give you suggestions to either improve it, or maybe they can update it cheaper than if they start from scratch. And then Kirk asks, should a person incorporate a PayPal type payment system on the page? Yeah. If you can sell online, imagine the market you've opened up. Even if you're local, I mean, there's most of the people I worked with for this seminar were local. It's like Emily Babin doesn't go too far out of central Iowa, but we're going to put a shopping cart type thing, technical speak, a shopping cart function into her website. So if she's not at Tuesday's farmer's market, her customers can get the bread they need. And her only issue is going to be logistics and shipping. She's a solopreneur, so it makes it a little tougher. So, and then Kathy, if you want to use print as opposed to just web, you need to consider resolution. Yes. I wasn't even thinking about reproduction of that. Print is 300 dpi, web and video is 72 to 96 dpi. So if you make it on your computer, I suggest make it huge without getting too technical. Starwalker, what you typing? I live in two worlds. Yeah, I started out 20 years ago as a print pre-press for flexographic printing designer. So you can imagine, trapping. Sorry, everybody, we're getting into the geeky print talk. But yeah, designing for trapping, choking, all that fun stuff. So yeah, resolution was always an issue in print. I like the people that tried to fax me their logos to get on a label. Any other comments, questions, relevant comments, questions? Good question, Sally. She asked if WordPress is the best to use in creating a website. I'm not going to say anything is the best. For some people, Website Tonight through GoDaddy is the best. But if you want good, easy to use, functional content management back end, WordPress isn't a website, it's the back end of a website, then yeah, I would say go to WordPress.com. You can sign up and it would be billybobstyfarm.wordpress.com, and boom, you sign up an account, it's free, and you pick from a number of themes. It's not going to be your design, it's not going to be your brand, but you can build it out and have it there. And yes, no code necessary. Most of the things, the plugins, the widgets are free. Then what my company does is take the WordPress framework to the next level. So it's not going to be billybobstyfarm at .wordpress.com. It's going to be billybobstyfarm.com. So that way I can customize it and build it out using our technology on the WordPress framework. Yes, you can transfer your own URL to that site, and it'll look better. It'll say greatwildmarketing.com, but it'll still go to the .wordpress.org website, or .com, excuse me. Even redirecting a URL is sometimes challenging for some. Anybody else got any questions? I see Sally still typing. Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks, Kurt. I actually asked Luke if I wanted to turn my camera on? And he said no. So blame Luke. Oh, please. I saw the pictures that Sally sent over, Riley. I had to pick out of the 10 she sent me. I had one that was acceptable I could put into my presentation. I'm not a photogenic man.
Well, if I may jump in real quick, Andrew.
All right.
I just wanted to thank our speakers tonight, Carol and Andrew. Very, very well done. Very interesting to hear your stories. And thank all for attending from around the country. This will be available on our website, practicalfarmers.org, in our archive, our Farminar archive. And please join us for future Farminars. If you have any questions or want to get in touch with us, we will put our contact information in the chat box. Thanks.